first we have Andrew Bosworth, aka Boz. Hey Boz, and I'll give you folks a detailed introduction about him, but he's head of Facebook AR/VR, and probably the person I've learned from the most when it comes to management and product. So, Boz, we're gonna have lots of fun with you. And then we have somebody also incredibly special, Fiji Simo, the head of Facebook app, and probably also the person I've learned some of the most from over the last 10 years on product. We're gonna have lots of fun with Fiji. Fiji, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. And then we have, the one and only Mark Zuckerberg, founder and CEO of Facebook. Mark, welcome to the show.
Hey.
I used to be the headliner here.
So I would say Boz is the headliner. I know Mark can only stay a few minutes. So Mark, I want to ask you just about Facebook, AR, VR, and in just a second. But here's a question I want to get to you first, which I don't think I've ever gotten before. So up here, you have three people, Boz, Fiji, and Mark Andreessen, that you've worked with for over 10 years. What is your favorite / most surprising thing about working with each one of them?
Favorite and most frightening?
Either.
Same thing.
No. I don't know. Well, I mean, we'd be here for a while going through this. I mean, the thing that I appreciate about all of them, I think that they all have quite good taste in technology and products and things to build. And, they're all prolific in terms of just being able to, drive a ton of stuff and be able to get a ton of different things done, which I appreciate. And I don't know, they're also funny and have a good sense of humor, which I think is important because life is pretty serious.
I do think people underestimate the degree to which humor is important in our roles. Obviously, we take the serious stuff really seriously, but you just can't it's relentless. You can't keep doing it if you're not having fun.
Sorry, Boz, you have something?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I think we're all going to pick up shock here. Okay, so Mark, I know you have to run soon, but we're going to be spending the rest of the evening talking about AR and VR. I know VR is something you're really excited in. Just would be curious for for the thousands here and all the folks outside listening. What are your thoughts on the progress we're making in VR and what's missing and what you see coming over the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, I think the progress is steady, and I'm proud of what the team is doing. It's there's a lot of foundational technologies to build. So just to back up, what augmented and virtual reality are really all about is delivering this sense of presence, right? This feeling like you're really there with another person or that you're in another place, right? The ability to teleport without actually having to travel or commute, and it's a special experience that no other computing platform can deliver, right? Phones don't do that. TVs and computers don't do that. You don't actually feel like you're in another place. You can watch a video or something, and your brain tries to kind of trick you and tell you that you're in another place, but you don't actually feel like you are. So the question is, what are all the technologies that help deliver that kind of sense of presence? And obviously, there's getting all the graphics and the visual systems to really kind of feel like you're immersed in a space. There's a long kind of path of technology that needs to get done to kind of get that to be as realistic as you would want on VR. And then AR obviously is a whole nother game on top of that, because you're not just you don't get to control the whole display. You're trying to put stuff into the physical world around you. And in order for AR to work, it has this additional challenge that VR doesn't, which is that, if people are going to be wearing this around during the day, it needs to fit into a pretty small form factor, like normal looking glasses. So now you have the challenge of delivering, all this technology to create this sense of presence, this kind of immersive experience, but doing it in, maybe a normal kind of thick rimmed pair of glasses, which means that you're basically taking a lot of technology that doesn't even exist yet and miniaturizing it down so that it fits in like, a few millimeters thick. And kind of that can work on a device all day long with battery. So it's so this is a long kind of path that we're investing in to try to deliver this, and that's why we set up Facebook Reality Labs. And Boz is one of the people who I've basically relied on to build a lot of the important stuff at Facebook over the years. I mean, you guys all probably know this, but he was one of the first people on the team that built the original news feed. He's built a lot of our products, our early messaging work. When after our IPO, when people had questions about our business, I asked him to go run our ads team to get that sorted out. So then when I basically decided that this was going to be a huge focus for the next 10 years for the company, I was like, all right, who do I want to run this? So Boz has built up this whole program, and we're really just taking a long-term approach towards it, towards the science of building all the foundational technologies. We have a product roadmap that goes out 4 or 5 years at a time in terms of the devices that we have a plan for what we're going to be shipping. And what I'd say in terms of how it's going is that Quest 2 has really been a breakout. A lot of the devices so far have gone well and have given kind of a glimpse of what the future is going to be. And Quest 2 is going to be, it's the first device that's really bringing VR to the mainstream. So I think that's exciting. People love it. The team achieved a really, it's a good form factor, but it's also affordable at $300. And developers are having a lot of success. I mean, Boz, what are we up to now? It's 60 titles that have made more than $1 million.
Yeah, and it's incredible because it's like a third of the apps in the store at this point, and there's quite a few titles that have made over 10 million now, and so that's one of the things we're trying to expand, getting more apps accessible. We just launched App Lab to do that. It's been incredible. I mean, one thing that's really interesting about this is it's fun to work with Mark on such a green field again. Mark and I obviously early on in Facebook did this all the time with newsfeed or things that didn't exist at the time, and then ads was a much more mature phase of the business, and this is just so out there. It's something completely different. It's kind of it feels like a return to the roots for me and working closely with Mark on it.
Yeah, so I guess one question I wanted to ask Mark was, any of you, what are your favorite games that you're playing now on the VR side of things?
Dude, Mark loves playing VR games. Mark, you should answer this. You play more than anybody I know.
Yeah, well, so I love the multiplayer games. I'm in it for the social experience. Not surprising. Although I have to say, the real long-term thing on VR and AR is, I kind of remember when I was in like middle school, science class, just sketching in my notebook these like experiences that I wanted to go build, and there were kind of these 3D immersive experiences. So a lot of what I'm excited about doing in VR and AR is actually building the platform where we can finally build some of these social and other experiences that I've literally been thinking about since I was a kid, since before I even started Facebook. But for this, I mean, my favorite games right now, I think it depends on what you're in the mood for. Beat Saber is obviously a classic. The multiplayer that the team added, I think, is quite good. I find Arizona Sunshine and like a little zombie apocalypse to be a relaxing way to unwind after a tough day of work. I think Onward is I think Dante and the team did a really nice job with that. It's like a military simulator, but there's no radar or anything, so you don't have it doesn't the only way that you know where the people on your team are or where the hostiles are is basically by communicating over radio with your team. So that I find a really fun one. I don't know, if you're not into shooters, I think Echo Arena is really good. It's basically like I don't know how many of you all read Ender's Game.
I do,
but
yeah.
you had that, they had that game that they played where they kind of went into the zero gravity zone and kind of played, it was like almost like a 3D frisbee type game.
First game. It's so cool. That's great.
Yeah, so Echo VR I think is quite good. A lot of fun.
I go for more like puzzle. I like Cubism and Tetris Effect. I usually play the games a lot more when I'm like trying to chill out. You know, obviously we're all Zooming all day. I'm in VR a decent chunk of my day, as you can imagine. I got young kids, so when I get a minute, man, I love to just Tetris Effect is almost like a meditative experience for me. I really, it's kind of in my go-to. I keep coming back to it. And Pistol Whip, don't skip leg day.
Yeah. Also, one plug for Keep Talking and No One Explodes, which is a great party game where you basically have one person in VR who is who basically, they have all these puzzles, and you have to solve the puzzles within 5 minutes or else the bomb goes off. And basically you have your friends who are not in VR in the room around you, who you basically have to describe the puzzles to, and they have to go online and basically find the solution to the puzzles on the URL bombmanual.com or bombmanual.net. Every time I type that in, I feel like the FBI is going to come raid my house or something. But it's pretty hilarious because I mean you see like the person who's in VR is just like getting freaked out and like agitated at their friends who are taking too long